Good morning. My name is Professor Rivera, and this is SM250 Sports Communication. So, before we get going, just a few things. I want to first apologize. In a standard video, or standard lecture video, you guys should have a video of me and my wonderful face in the corner. I've recently switched to a different laptop, and for some reason, my new PowerPoint, I think I just have to install another PowerPoint version, doesn't record videos. So all you have for this first lecture is just audio. I should also say, what should you guys be expecting? That's kind of what the point of this introduction lecture is. This is just like you would get the first day of any class. We're going to do some introductions. We are going to go over the syllabus. I'll give you guys a general overview of what you can expect from this semester, format stuff, and that's pretty much it. So that's all this is. Some of you guys have emailed me, asking me questions already, and that's fine. I love the enthusiasm. Don't panic. I think some of you guys are worried. My goal this semester, I'll throw this out there. I've got several goals. One is to have great communication. And again, it's just a coincidence that this class is called Sports Communication, but my goal is to really effectively communicate with you guys on things from assignments to topics in the textbook. And if you guys are unclear about any things, it's important that you reach out to me via email. I am always available. My other goal for this class is to really make these lectures short and sweet, so to speak. I'll kind of get to it, I think, in a little bit, but online asynchronous classes can be difficult because that lack of live setting where you can ask questions whenever you want, and then instead you email me. It might take a day, and then I send it back, and you guys are kind of confused about, you don't even remember what the question was. So online classes can be very challenging. My point with these lectures is to really be effective on harping on the main points for the given week or the given chapter that we're trying to discuss. You shouldn't find that any of these lectures really run more than 40 minutes, but usually my goal is to keep these to 20 to 30-minute videos. You might find some weeks that these are even shorter when we're just going over one thing, or sometimes I might send out two lectures, a short one that's 5 to 10 minutes, another one that might be 20 to 25 minutes. But that's kind of what you can expect for the semester. I should also say, just like I said in my announcements, this is an active participation class. So even though we are online asynchronous and we will never meet, I will be sending out material on a weekly basis, which means you as the student should be actively participating on a weekly basis. Again, I'll get into that in a second. So before we jump into the syllabus, just like I would do in any live class and just like I did this past week, let's do some introductions. And I apologize if some of you guys have me in, whether it's in person or whether it's in another online class, and some of this is redundant because this is simply copy and pasted from a different online class, at least this slide is. So name, you can call me Professor Rivera, Coach Rivera, or Coach. As I tell all my students, I identify just as much as a coach as I do a college professor. We're going to go into my background a little bit. And we do background, as I've stated to other classes, to give all of you a understanding of how I view my world. What is the lens from which I view my world? And if you could see how I view my world, or the lens from which I view it, you can get a better understanding of why some of these might make sense to me. And just because the way I do things sometimes works for me, doesn't mean it's the way you should view your world or do things in your world. It's really always, the term I like to use, context dependent. Context is everything. Whether you are a sports administrator, sports manager, whether you are a coach, whether you're in business, context is everything. So this is my context. This is my background. So I've got a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration with a concentration in Sports Management from the College of St. Rose. From there, I finished my Master's of Science in Exercise Science and Sports Studies from William Patterson University. There I looked at performance markers in endurance athletes, specifically triathletes. I am currently finishing my PhD in health science with a concentration in movement science. My doctoral dissertation is looking at resistance training protocols in well-trained athletes. Essentially, I'm having people squat, bench, deadlift, and they are following one of 3 different loading protocol programs. So that's what my research interests include. As you guys should be able to see, I am very, very into sports science. That is my entire world. Not only do I teach exercise science for most of my classes, but I am a gym owner where I apply a lot of research and textbook information in the real world as a gym owner. About 70% of my clients are high school or college athletes, with the remaining 30% being the general population looking for weight loss, weight gain, just improving their aesthetics. And then my last job, I'll say, is a track and field coach. I'm a head track and field coach at North Rockland High School. That does take up a decent part of my world, especially come November when track actually starts. And lastly, I'm a husband and a father of a beautiful daughter, Elizabeth Rivera. Now, once again, I give you all of this background information because I am oftentimes going to give you guys real-world examples of textbook information, and oftentimes I apply them to the things in my life, like the gym, like track and field, or sometimes I'll just even use you students as an example. I think that can be a very helpful way to improve the learning process. So, moving on to the syllabus. So, just a few general things about the syllabus. Let's start with, like I said, we are fully online. Let's talk about emails. This is important. Emails. This class, we have to have a lot of communication. When you are emailing me, please always, no matter what, reference what class you're referring to. Anytime you have a question, or if you missed an assignment, or if you need help, always reference, say, hey, professor, my name is John Doe. I am in your sports communication class. I am in your sports communication class and I need help with this. It just makes things a little easier for me, specifically if you're referencing an assignment versus me kind of guessing. It's early on in the semester, so I don't know each and every one of you just yet. Office hours. If you guys are on campus, I am on campus Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I have office hours before my classes, 7 to 8 a.m., and after my classes, 11 to 12 p.m. I am absolutely always available by appointment. Usually the best times to meet are Tuesdays and Thursdays. I typically record my lectures for this class on Friday. Did I say Tuesday, Thursday? Sorry, Tuesday, Fridays. I typically record my lecture for this class on Tuesdays and Fridays. So if you ever, just want to set up a Zoom like Friday mornings, you could shoot me an email. 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Friday morning, and more often than not, if it's on a Friday, I might get back to you right away and say, hey, and just send you a Zoom link. Let's meet now. So don't be afraid to shoot me an email, even if it's last minute on a Tuesday or a Friday when I'm always doing work in the office. All right, moving on. All right, so the syllabus. So just like I would do in class, I'm not going to go over the entirety of the syllabus. You guys can go over it on your own. This is important. So this class is communications, right? And we talk about communications on many different levels, but I made a mistake, and I wish I could say it was a purposeful mistake just to prove a point, but it wasn't a purposeful mistake. I uploaded the wrong syllabus. So I was checking it this morning, I sent it out, a week and a half ago, and not a single one of you said, Professor, this syllabus is for technology and HPE, which is not this class, All right. So I apologize. I actually uploaded the wrong syllabus, but it illustrates a point of communication. If some of you guys took a look at that syllabus and realized it was the wrong syllabus, you guys should have reached out to me. All right. So make sure I just changed it. Make sure you take a look at the new syllabus, the correct syllabus. So the course description. This course presents an overview in the principles and practice of public and media relations in sports organizations. So, this is just a piece of the description, but it's the important piece. We're looking at communications and media relations related to sports. But this class is just so much more than that, and we'll go into that in the next slide, so I don't want to get too much into it here. Probably the most important thing that students usually care about are the method of evaluation. So we simply have 3 methods of evaluation for this class: textbook readings and assignments based on your readings. So every week I will give you a lecture. In addition, with that lecture, you will have an accompanying textbook reading assignment, and this will be on a weekly basis. So your lecture is always going to come in the form of an Edpuzzle video. At the end of the Edpuzzle video, you will usually have, I don't know, on the low end 4, on the high end 10 questions based on both the textbook and the video, or the lecture, I should say. In addition to getting that Edpuzzle every single week, I will on the message board tell you whatever your assignment is for the week. You will have 1 week to complete your textbook reading assignment and your Edpuzzle lecture after it's submitted or uploaded. So for instance, today is September 2nd. I would like, because this is going to be uploaded today, I would like you to A, watch this video, and B, complete your assignment, which isn't really a textbook assignment, but complete it 7 days from now, which will be due the 9th. Again, I think 2 of you guys reached out to me and you were worried that it was going to be due like 2 days later. No, I almost always give you guys a full week to complete the assignment. Even though I sometimes don't get them out on Friday, I might submit it on or upload it on a Saturday. You'll still have 1 week to do the assignment. At the end of the semester, we will have a final paper project. Don't ask me about it right now because I'm still finalizing all the details, but don't worry too much about it. You'll have plenty of time, I promise you. Success. So success this semester, as I try to talk to all students. For this class, how are you going to be successful for this class? 1, stay up to date with the material. Do not fall behind. It is very easy in online asynchronous classes for students to just say, oh, I'll get to it, and they keep pushing it back, and then before they know it, oh no, 5 weeks have went by, they haven't done a single thing for this class. If you do that for this class, you will fail. As I update things on a weekly basis, you are expected to put in work, do the assignments on a weekly basis. So stay up to date with everything. Listen, if something comes up, I totally get it, but always communicate these things with me. Additionally, success, doing things on time, and really just kind of putting in the work that's required in a class. Like I said, some people treat an online asynchronous class as an easy class, and in terms of content, sure, this class is probably easier than exercise physiology 2, or other 300 or 400 level classes. But all you have to do is just make sure you put in the work to stay up to date with all the material, and you should do just fine in this class, I promise you. So what is this class about, right? It's called Sports Communications. Well, just, early on, if you look at your textbook, and you guys all should look at your textbook, make sure you check your email. All of you should have access to the textbook that was provided for you via St. Peter's. You should not be purchasing the textbook. So make sure you go through your emails, make sure you have access to a digital copy of the textbook. If you have any issues accessing your textbook, please reach out to me and let me know. I was told that access links for textbooks went out on August 21st. So if you didn't see an email, go back, see if you have it, see if you have a link to the textbook. If you do not, please let me know. So if you look through your textbook, some topics that you might be seeing in the beginning, we're just going to talk about in general sports and communications and what these things really mean. Like, how do we define communication? There's various definitions for that. From there, there's various chapters on things like community and cultures in sport. What does it mean to be a fan? What is a fan culture? And then from there, we really, I look at this class essentially as a sports anthropology class, right? This isn't something that the text has a chapter on explicitly, but really it's a sports anthropology class where I just Googled this, right? And this explores how sport both shapes and is shaped by social, cultural, political, and historical contexts, right? There's that word again, context. And the only thing you really have to add after you kind of just Google sports anthropology is how communication can affect these things, right? So how can communication affect gender in sports, race and politics, and I think we are at an incredibly interesting time in sports management, sports communication, where we're just coming right out of the pandemic, where for the first time since I've been alive, we didn't have sports. It was a weird time. It was a very weird time. And what did that mean to people? Did people lose their identity a little bit? There's some people that truly identify. It is part of their innate human being to identify as a fan. Sure, these are a little bit more extreme fans, but there are plenty of them out there. So that's really how we're going to view this class, from a sports anthropology communications lens, talking about gender, race, politics, all of these things. So also keep in mind that some of these things, we don't all have the same viewpoint, and that's perfectly fine. How do we feel about gender identity and gender fluidity in sports? These are things that the world is facing, and we all do not have the same viewpoints, but we will absolutely be respectful of each other's viewpoints. I think it's important, if we're going to continue to push not just the sports community, but the United States, the world, right, our community as a whole, if we're going to push ourselves forward, we have to be able to have these honest and civil conversations about these topics. Okay. So, last. All right, and your assignment for the week. So obviously, I want you to just get into the book and start doing your reading. So you should take a look at chapter 1. But your only major assignment for the week is get on the discussion board. Just like in any class, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. Give me some background on you, right? What is the lens from which you view the world? And this is going to help me. So name, nickname, are you a freshman or a senior? Guess what? A freshman's probably going to view this class and view this world very different than a senior would. A senior is going to be getting into the real world. They're thinking about graduating. They're thinking about internships. They're thinking about money, right? Very different than a freshman who's just trying to get by. They're trying to find where the food court is. They're trying to find out where every classroom on campus is. They're trying to figure out scheduling. So their viewpoint and their context will be different. Area of study. So this is my first time teaching this specific class. So I want to know, are you all in sports management? I don't know. All right. Career aspirations. That's a big one for me with all of my classes. I care about what you guys want to do. And I would love to be able to help you guys in any way possible with your careers. So sometimes it's always helpful for me to know these things. So those first few points, they can be very simple. Now your questions, these can be answered in a few sentences, no more than really like 1 to 2 paragraphs for these next two questions. How have sports impacted your life? So you heard me earlier discuss what sports fandom could be. Some people could completely identify with a given team and it be part of their innate being. Is that you? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But to some extent, sports probably should have impacted your life if you're a sports management major. So address that. And then lastly, what would you like to learn about this semester? Maybe there's specific topics that interest you. Politics in sports, gender equity in sports, Title IX things. What would you like to learn about, and specifically, obviously, from that communicative lens. All right, that's it for the week. If you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out.